is Chateau de Crillon with Montrose in the distance.
Okay, last views of Chateau Chillon down there to Zermatt. They are still practicing transhumance. Now, what is transhumance? This is when you bring the cows up into the alpine meadows, the mountain meadows. You bring them up for the summertime, and then you bring them down in the fall. And right now, in September, this is about the time where they start bringing the cows down, because we're already starting to see some snow in some higher elevations. And oftentimes it's a group of farmers together who pool their resources to hire somebody that will take the cows up, milk them twice a day, and make the cheese. Then the cheese gets divided proportionally amongst the farmers based on the number of cows they had up. It is not very lucrative, to be honest. There was a recent article that I read where without the subsidies and such from the government, farmers are only making about 40,000 Swiss francs a year. So it is not a large salary at all. Yes. And so they make about, about 70,000 tons of cheese, I want to say, and believe that about 80% of the production is exported. When you see the big round plastic bales in the fields, that is the silage for winter feed. And then once the ground is dry enough in the spring, that's when they release the cows. And if you need an uplifting smile, if you're having a bad day, then you're going to go on YouTube. Okay, do this, and you are going to YouTube. Cows let out first in spring. They literally jump for joy. It is adorable. They run and play and jump, and it really is a sweet thing.
Since ancient times, St. Bernard-type dogs were present in this region. The local tribes periodically raided the Romans and used them as war dogs. Much later, the Hospice of the Great St. Bernard Pass, named after the monk Bernard, acquired some dogs in the mid-1660s. They bred and trained them for rescue work in the dangerous Alps along the Italian-Swiss border. Gruyeres is named for the Gruyere cheese, which has been made in the region since the early 12th century, when they developed a way to produce cheese from their excess cow's milk. This road leads to the castle. Now it's a museum and has a great art collection. We chose this restaurant for lunch, and we're seated outside on this deck with a beautiful view of the countryside. We shared fondue, which is basically a blend of melted Swiss cheese and white wine. To eat it, you spear a chunk of French bread, new potato chunks, or other items into the melted cheese, swirl it around, and pop it in your mouth. We also ordered raclette, which is made with melted cheese that's scraped off a big cheese round onto boiled potatoes, pickles, pickled onions, etc. Yummy. I learned that Gruyere can be made in France as well as Switzerland. In France, there's holes in the cheese, and in the Swiss Gruyere, there are no holes. If you want to make sure you have Swiss Gruyere, look for Switzerland prominently on the label.
On a lot of the license plates. And one of my favorite things about this canton is that if you are a citizen of this Swiss state, when you turn 100, you receive 100 bottles of wine.
Oh, wow.
I knew that would perk some ears up.
We just came through a tunnel and seemed to have left villages and vineyards and farmland away, and now we're in the mountains.
And so you have, the beginnings of the Rhone, the Rhine. What's also interesting about this specific area here in the Rhone Valley area, they get the föhn. What's the föhn? And that translates very literally from German as hair dryer. And it is the perfect description. It is a perfect description because what this is you get this really hot air from the. What that means is that there are 82 peaks that are more than 4,000 meters in height. Mont Blanc is about 15,778 feet in elevation. Now we don't see Mont Blanc because that is on the French, that's in France, on the French-Italian border. But tomorrow we will see Switzerland's highest peak, and that is the Dufourspitze, the Dufour Peak. And that one is not too far behind Mont Blanc. That one's just over 15,200 feet in elevation, so only 500 feet shorter. Formed by tectonic plates smashing together and pushing together over tens of millions of years. Pushing up. And so we had the Eurasian plate crashing with the African tectonic plate. And what's interesting is that tomorrow, when you see the Matterhorn, and the Matterhorn, just such an iconically shaped mountain, when you see the Matterhorn, the rock that you are seeing, that exposed rock, that comes from the African tectonic plate. So a little slice of Africa in the middle of Europe, and that is just over the border. Your phones might go a little crazy later on today. They might get a little confused. Mine. I get messages from both that I'm in both Switzerland and in Italy, because right over the ridges of those mountains, you have Italy on the other side. And so we're sharing. You are seeing the ruins of a monastery, and then behind the monastery, that's Tourbillon Chateau, castle there, dating from about the 13th century, I believe, the foundations.
Well, here's some more steep, cultivated hillsides.
For that photo. There's almost like a staircase. Literally, the two go running up to the top.
That's how you get from there to there. Gondola is moving. Looks like difficult to get a car up there, but it is doable. I see one up there. Notice the roofs, they're slabs of slate. Another one.
But they always post it so you know exactly how far you can get. There used to be one hopefully around the next corner. Headache. Those are all signs of altitude sickness. What I suggest, and the best way to prevent it, is to hydrate. So
these little shacks are used for storage, or food for the animals and their tools and stuff. There's one humongous rock slide, or slides. We're transferring here to a train because no private vehicles are allowed in Zermatt, not even electric ones. The electric vehicles you'll find are commercial. The train heading from Tasch, T-A-S-C-H, to Zermatt. That appears to be a campground over there along this nice glacier river. Seeing lots of geraniums. Beautiful. Mountain Street in Zermatt, Switzerland. As you can see, everyone's on foot. This is our hotel, and there's their little electric vehicle to get people around. And this is our nice room upstairs with a view of the street and the Matterhorn. And there I am at work.